Oh, baby. Woo. I am feeling good. Feeling optimistic.
Okay.
Let's get this going. Looks like a young Jokic today. He looks so thin, doesn't he?
Looks happy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Presented by Miller Lite. What time is it, boys?
I think it's Miller time.
Miller
if
time.
If my watch is correct.
Your watch is working, baby. We're also in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. This is our last show of 2024. Well,
see you next year.
This in the post game. That's our last. There you go. A little kazoo over there. A little
Super
kazoo.
producer Tiff on the ones and twos.
And it's, as always, this time of year, a chance to reflect.
Sure.
So we're going to reflect a little on 2024.
Also, just to be clear, use any time to reflect.
Nope, only today.
We can only do it in this week span.
Over reflection can really, ruin you, Eric. I mean, I don't have to tell you that.
It's true.
But we're also going to talk about why tonight's game, I feel like, is such a good opportunity. Woo. Give some hangover takes to the last one. I'm excited. I got Harrison Wynn with me.
Guys, I already got my New Year's resolution. I'm going to spoil it. New Year, same me. In the words of LaMelo Ball.
New year, new me. But
same me.
But same me.
Actually,
that's actually his best
Actually,
quote.
same me. Yeah.
That's actually LaMelo Ball's.
Not setting expectations too high.
You guys have no idea how popular LaMelo Ball is. Unbelievably. He's so popular for a guy on a terrible team who's kind of a weirdo. D-Line Co. is in the house.
That's right. A very wise man not that long ago told me that life can be divided into two very equal buckets.
LaMelo fan?
You're either not back or you're back.
Oh, what are we?
We're back.
Oh, baby, we are so back. I think it's you're either back or it's over, one of the two. But it is not over for the Nugs. They get Utah tonight. I think it's the perfect team for tonight. At Utah is the perfect game for where the Nuggets are right now. I actually think if they get this win, it's a good win. And if they lose this one, it's a bad loss. Those are the stakes tonight.
Wow.
There's no in between on this one. It just would be a nice win to have. What do you got for us, Harrison?
Well, this is another game where the Nuggets are playing arguably the worst team in the NBA. There's a pool of teams.
I know.
The Wizards, the Blazers.
There are more teams jockeying.
Pelicans.
There
The
are
Jazz
more-
are in that tier right
There
now.
are more teams fighting to be the worst team than the best team.
Yeah, that's true.
The Jazz are 7-23 on the season. They've lost 3 straight
That's not that
to
many.
the Cavs, the Blazers, and the 76ers. Before that, they won 2 straight over the Pistons and Nets. But they pretty much go as, Lauri Markkanen goes for the most part. He'd be the guy to shut down tonight. And Michael Malone didn't want to tip his hand as to who they're going to guard Lauri Markkanen with tonight in the pregame with Aaron Gordon out. He's out tonight, missing a second straight game. I think he'll maybe miss like 1 or 2 more and then probably come back.
Is this a win take, or is this
It's
a
just
win
kind
chime?
of my read. You could call it a chime.
Okay.
But from what Michael Malone has said, it doesn't sound like it's the huge absence like it was the first time around.
I look at their schedule and think that they should buy as much time as
I
they
agree.
can. I worry about the Nuggets gripping the steering wheel a little too tight this right now.
Yeah.
And that calf injury, let's be honest, man. I don't think, outside of 3-point shooting, which has been phenomenal, Aaron Gordon has not consistently looked like the Aaron Gordon we've known. And I really think this injury is a big part of it. Forget it, man.
Yeah.
Forget it. Get him healthy.
And I also feel like they've played okay with him out of the lineup. So
Can't you survive it?
you obviously need him when it counts, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. Give him some time. Michael Malone did say on Lauri Markkanen, you got to give him different looks, be aggressive, try to take away his airspace, limit his separation, and then make him work on the other end. So it'll be interesting to see what the starting lineup is, if they stick with Russell Westbrook in there, or if they go to Peyton Watson for more of a defensive look on Markkanen.
Can you change that after doing it 2 games in a row and coming off of a win, though?
Typically, I don't think Michael Malone would, but I'd be okay with it.
I would too, but there is some message sending, and everything, whether there should be or shouldn't be. I think the Denver Nuggets should actually have a fluid starting lineup anyway. I mean, even with everybody healthy, pencil in Christian Brown. But I do think there's moments where if you establish that precedent of, hey, you're not starting tonight, but that's not because of anything you did.
Right.
It's just, I feel like that's such a good precedent. But Malone has never had that. And so now when you have a player out, you play Russ a couple games, it's like, can you take him out now without people interpreting something, including the players? Would the players be like, well, I started the last two, and now you're going with P-Watt? So I wish there was more flexibility there. But alas.
This was Michael Malone answering a question about how to make sure his guys are motivated against the 7-win Jazz. He said, we told them they're undefeated. I don't know if it's going to work or not.
Tell them that they never beat Utah in Utah. Isn't it only
except that one time.
Except this last, two times. The 7 and then the
two
most
times.
recent time. But outside of that, you could just tell them, you don't have to lie. 2-16 in the last 18 games at Utah or something.
And finally, Michael Malone, he talked about Christian Brown and the need for him to keep taking open threes, even if he misses a couple. He said sometimes turning down wide open shots, trying to force something that may not be there, going into a guy like Walker Kessler, who's a shot blocker, that could fuel their break on the other end. So he wants Christian Brown to keep shooting those threes.
We do have a starting lineup. Do you want to know?
I would love to know.
It's Russell Westbrook. I mean, come on. Well, there was no mystery to this one. Russ will start his 3rd game in a row. CB, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. rounds out your starting 5.
So Porter on Markkanen?
That
or
is
Christian Brown?
We talk about MPJ being like Markkanen.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's going to run around. I mean, they run him off a lot of screens, man. I don't know if that's going to be a job for one Michael Porter. It should be interesting tonight. What are you looking for tonight, D-Line?
Well, as I mentioned, you're either back or you're not back. And there is a member of the Denver Nuggets that Harrison Wind has very clearly identified as being back.
Never said it. Never actually said it.
We all heard it. I think we all read between the lines. And listen, man, half joking, half real. Like, Jamal Murray is very important to this team, is he not?
He's incredibly important.
Jamal Murray is very important, and
as he goes, they say as he goes, the Nuggets go. As he
it's
goes,
not entirely true.
It's not entirely true, but what I will say is, as he go, the vibes tend to go.
Yes.
So,
yes, and Jamal Murray looked more back to me than he has in some time last game.
I would
just
agree.
meaning not just the points. The points have been back for a little bit, but his demeanor, his movement. His defense, like he really truly
big part.
I mean, he just played with he just looked like he had a little spark, which to this point has been like you're just kind of praying that he'll get going. And I'm praying it's not fool's gold. I hope that it's fool's Nuggets gold that he actually is returning to form. He does feel like his body is finally getting there.
There was a photo I showed you earlier today. Yes. I mean, it's the perfect lighting and moment or whatever, but he looked like Andre Iguodala.
Yeah.
He's looking a little ripped there. In a very specific photo.
Give me Iguodala. But the real indicator as to whether or not Jamal Murray is in fact back is that he was standoffish with the media.
Oh yeah, that's actually it. Yeah.
It was actually he
I might say it tonight.
He talked to Brendan Vogt. He talked down to him. He made it seem like
specifically to Brendan Vogt.
Yeah, and he like a whole thing about like this is why we're here and you're there. This is why. Loved it. Not because I love it, but because it hints at something that is very integral to what it is to be Jamal Murray, which is to be doubted somehow.
I think, we always say this, that the pressure has to be highest for him to come in, other than Game 7. Yes. But, I will say, as we get to hangover takes here, I do agree with you in one thing.
Harrison, you agree with Harrison.
Well, I agree with both of you. But specifically you on the press conference point, and it's not because I believe Jamal Murray has to be a dick to the media for him to be good.
You just prefer it.
I prefer it not. But here's the thing. He's kind of writing the script for himself, right? You can't come out and have a stinker after you said it took me this while to get in shape, but now I'm here, right? That's another thing you can't say is, I always ramp up, I am here now, and then go out and be bad again. Like, you can't do that.
Also, it's December 30th. Like,
that's a little late.
We've passed the early ramping up portion of the season officially, I think.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, man, I don't know if you guys caught this, you probably did, but Jokic interviewed after the game on the court about it, and he spent the time talking about Jamal and how he's looking good. I think since he's come back, his energy has been great. Mm-hmm. I don't think you have to squint too hard to see Jokic not calling out Jamal, but clearly frustrated with him in early parts of the year and challenging him. And, some of the things he said, I think you can say he's probably talking a little bit about Jamal here. So for him to kind of give him the stamp of approval and say these last handful of games since he's come back from energy, not only has he looked better and performed better, but his energy now looks better. I just look at that and I go, if Yoke knows, if Yoke's saying it, he knows.
Yeah,
absolutely. And, it all gets back to the heart of what I think frustrates everybody about Jamal Murray is that you just want him to be a professional and you want him to come into the season in shape and you want him to care very deeply about being an all-star, recognizing that the all-star selection happens during the part of the season that he just tells you should just assume is going to be bad for him, right. Which I hate. I hate that he just is like, hey, I do this every year. So like somehow we are stupid for not recognizing the pattern when in fact, like Jamal Murray, like
just an unacceptable pattern.
Just be back. Like, don't you want to be an all-star? Like if you can play like this from the beginning, you get to be an all-star. If you don't, then you get to be a guy that is forever looked down at and is honestly looked at as an anchor on the career of Nikola Jokic because he, quote, never played with an all-star. Even though Jamal Murray,
also,
we
bro,
all know
just
can be
stop ramping up.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Just be up, dude.
Do you know what this does to Jokic for the first third of the season?
Kills him.
Right. And this is why I think it's okay to call him out on those things. I mean, I think it's okay just because
look
it's our
at
job.
your teammate, man. Look at all this pressure on him because this is, what you do.
A team really is like you're in the foxhole with those guys. Nobody except for those guys know what it's like to be in that locker room and behind the, closed doors. And so there is a level of you're not letting yourself down. It's you owe everybody everything because the moment you say I'm going to take something off, somebody else has to pick up your slack in sports.
Like this podcast. Thanks, vote. Where are you?
I feel like we just got to go through the Jazz rotation and see who's going to talk shit to Jamal Murray tonight.
Nobody.
Jordan Clarkson.
Nobody.
Easy.
You think Clarkson?
No,
yes.
I don't
Sexton?
think he'll talk shit. I don't think it.
No, Sexton doesn't have it in him, dude. He's too full of sex. That's it. No, it's
Johnny
Jordan
Juzang? I don't know.
Johnny Juzang.
If he starts talking shit,
There
we're in
aren't a
trouble.
lot of candidates. I'll say that.
Well,
it's the Utah Jazz fan base. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We're going to the most.
You're right.
Yeah, you know,
18,000 people at the arena.
The thing that I thought was most beautiful about last game is that Jamal got to
Phil
be
Pawski?
boisterous and start talking shit and yell at the crowd via Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, totally.
And he loved it.
Yeah. And this is my real hangover take. So we're doing hangover takes of this last game. We haven't had a chance to talk about it since the post game. I was blown away. We watched the game here. It was during the CU Bowl game. So it was a very distracting way to watch the game in terms of being connected to what the fans were feeling. I loved that game. And I went back and rewatched it because I was like, am I going to feel the same way if I love that game. I have been the most pessimistic, I think, on the panel this year, which is not my usual spot. But this year, I'm just a little lower on the team overall. I think that game could be a turning point for real because that game was a game that I thought I saw a lot of defense that Denver needed in a key moment in that third quarter. The ball was popping. A lot of guys looked like they were playing their best basketball. Michael Porter looks like he's taking threes quicker than ever. And I actually think that's great. We saw the stat about him today. He's the best contested three-point shooter in the NBA, but he almost is gun-shy about it. I thought last game, deliberately looking for his shot. I love that, coming off those dribble handoffs. So there was just a lot in this game. And what happened was, I saw a lot of people saying it's Detroit, it's Detroit. They have 14 wins. Denver has 17.
They've been solid.
That's a solid win. That's not like a great win. It's a solid win. That's not a garbage team. And
they lose to those.
And I think that fourth quarter was bad, but it also didn't matter. That was garbage time. They blew it in garbage time. It ended up only a 13-point win or whatever. Yeah. But I walk away and I rewatch the game and I go, you know what? That was exactly what I thought. That was a good win. One of the few wins where I look at it and I go, that they won the way they need to win going forward.
And I think the third quarter was the biggest thing I took away from it, just the huge run they went on, because I remember in the championship season they would have those runs.
Yeah.
You know, they would have those runs like those peak Steph Warriors teams had those runs where all of a sudden in like 5, 6, 7 minutes the game was over.
Yeah.
You know, it went from a game to, we're just done here in a really short span. Nuggets did that a lot during that championship year. They haven't done that this year a ton. Like that, this team just has not had that in their DNA yet. But that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a convincing like statement type of run that demoralized the Pistons, and like that's going to be a sign for me that this team is coming together if we see more of those.
And joy is the other thing. That third quarter, as much as it was a bunch of screaming and this and that, it was a very joyful quarter for a lot of people, including Jamal. But I think even Hunter and Julian and Peyton, those guys that I think have had a bit of a weight on their shoulders because of the moment they're in and so much is counted on them. I feel like it was a joyful win for those guys too. And that's part of why I'm so optimistic about them coming off that game.
My read on this game, the last game, was that the Nuggets got themselves into a true measuring stick game the game before against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they showed that their offense is there and their defense is so woefully not anywhere close to where it needs to be. And I think that they took that to heart. Like the other games that they have been beaten down, you can there was a reason to write it off. This guy was missing, this, that, or the other. It was a team, they were playing down to them, but they wanted that game against Cleveland, and Cleveland showed them that at this moment in time, they are not on their level. And I thought that they really took a lot of that to heart, and then they took it out on the Detroit Pistons. And they showed, again, they scored 1 point less than they did against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the offense is still rolling at a very high level, but they also then were a lot more connected. They were talking. So I took... I really enjoyed that they actually did respond, even though it's not the same level of competition, but they showed all right, we recognize we're not where we need to be. And you saw it mostly in Jamal. But just in general, man, I do think that was a wake-up call, a meaningful wake-up call for the Denver Nuggets, that Cleveland game.
If it is, today follows a very similar script in that you get a lead at some point, you play free, the team plays connected, and you pick up a win in Utah. Let's move on now because this is the last day we're doing shows of 2024. What is 2024? 2023 was the year the Nuggets won an NBA championship. It's going to go down probably forever as the greatest single calendar year in Denver Nuggets history. It was a phenomenal year. 2024, how would you define it as a calendar year for the Denver Nuggets?
It seems like it was kind of the year of obviously disappointment and then uncertainty almost.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a dynasty? You have less confidence now than you did in 2023.
Nobody is saying that right now.
Absolutely nobody. I'm not even saying that. And I think uncertainty might be even, the word of the year. Is this team going to still be that tier 1 contender with Nikola Jokic? Are they in a position to be that team heading into 2025? I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. And I didn't think I'd be saying that, if you were to ask me this question last year.
Right. How do you define 2024?
Specifically for the Nuggets?
And then for you personally, yeah.
Well, I just want to
But
know
also international
how dark I'm
politics,
supposed to
if you
get.
want to, the economy.
I'll
and-
start obviously with Israel, Palestine.
Yeah,
We're all
big
thinking.
story.
The election, I'll get into that as well. I have a multi-part answer. But as far as the Nuggets are concerned, this was a year of... This was apron navigation. This was the Denver Nuggets attempting to do something that is typically sort of a fool's errand, but they're trying to go into this new era of aprons in the NBA and trying to do so in a way that allows them to have continued and long-term success. But just by having all this local homegrown talent, essentially, or the drafting talent and bringing it up, and then it's cost controlled. But it was like a wasted year, is what it was.
It does feel almost
It was an
in some
absolutely
ways.
wasted year. And frankly, it was a year that was just ruined by Wemby.
Oh, that Spurs game.
Your
yeah.
personal nemesis.
My
is
personal
what
nemesis,
it's
Wemby.
turning into.
By the way, that was yesterday. That was the last time he had 35 points. Jamal
Yeah.
Murray was that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He had it in the playoffs, but I'll throw that out. This playoffs a little bit different, but
Yeah.
regular season wise.
But listen, we went into the year. Calvin told us that he was planning on not winning this year, which is not a great message.
Last year, you're saying?
Last
Yeah.
year. But
That was a tough way to start the year.
But all things they still should have. I still think that they would have beat the Celtics had they had the opportunity to face them. But it was a wasted year. They wasted 2024.
I think it was a hangover year, and it was a smack by reality and how difficult a year it is because 2023 was so great. And even 2023, you start up the next season, you just feel like, okay, this team is on top. How long is it going to last? And 2024 was a year that both we learned that the team, especially Jamal Murray, harder to be the hunted than the hunter.
I definitely learned that.
And so I think it was a bit of a hangover year, but also anytime you let your guard down for a second, you don't just take a hit. You get knocked down. Yeah. And I think the Nuggets in 2024 had their guard down. Both the front office a little bit had their guard down, the coaching staff, the players, the fan base, you could even argue to a certain extent. And they didn't just get knocked off in this like, oh, man, we didn't get it this year, but we're right back. It's like, no, once you get knocked down, getting back there it's like you got knocked off the mountain. You got to reclimb the mountain. And I think that was 2024. And the year to me is defined by a tough cloud over the org. Not just they didn't win the title. I think that the vibes of this team that won a title disappeared. And to me, as much as there are real on-court questions about this team, and we discuss them daily, there's a vibe question to this team too. Can they get back to the vibe that they had in that championship season? Mm-hmm. And it's not easy, and I know it sounds simple. I'm telling you, that piece of this is so important. And that's part of why I was so optimistic yesterday, is it was the first time I just felt like the whole team had fun. Yeah.
I also think it was kind of a reality check year for the Nuggets too, because Calvin Booth might have had he might have been the most tempered in his expectations for last year, but I almost got the sense that everybody else was a little overconfident and they might have thought repeating was going to be easier than it actually was.
For sure.
I mean, Michael Malone talked a lot of shit. A lot of it was under the influence. And look, he should. They were bringing back the same team except for Bruce Brown. They should have had a lot of confidence.
Yep.
But I just feel like they probably thought it was going to be a little easier than it actually was, and it was a bit of a reality check.
But 2025, and we'll do this more in the post game, 2025 really is coming at the perfect moment. It's in the course of the season where it's like, you know what? It's every year, it's always the same. No, but I just mean spiritually, I feel like the Nuggets are at a point where they can, not that they will, that they can turn the page. You look at the standings. You look at what's happened so far. There is an opportunity ahead, and I just hope that 2024, get this win tonight, go celebrate hard.
Can't do that in Utah.
And let's
can't.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
impossible to do.
And let's flush 2024 down the drain, never to be discussed again. The history books will go straight from 23 to 25.
Yeah, I think we had a better 2000, honest, or 2020.
2020?
No. Second worst year after 2020.
I don't know. They went to the conference finals that year. It was pretty fun.
Dude.
2-3-1 comebacks. I remember that very fondly. All right, let's preview this game now by making some bets. Our pregame picks are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use the code DNVR365. Deposit $10 and place a bet of $5 to get $200 in bonus bets and a code to get the first 2 months of Altitude Plus, courtesy of Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. No superstar dev here.
Nope.
But we have the 12th
actual superstar here.
The 12th best thing. It's D-Line Co.
The 12th best thing. What are the other 11? I'm curious. Just all of Dev's family. Okay, so listen. If you're waiting on pins and needles to hear my bets for the Utah Jazz, you can keep waiting till 2026.
Get that out of here!
Get out of here, Dev, and your bets on the other team, even though
on
it's
the Utah
always
side
a
of
way.
things.
Even though it's a way to always make money. All right, let's start off by looking at this the old-fashioned way.
Ooh.
The Denver Nuggets are favored by 7.5 points in Utah.
That's great, man. That's a lot.
That is a lot. It also is incongruent with history. I would take the money line, but I'm so terrified of that 7.5 points. You just don't know what's going to happen, especially in Utah. It's just a house of horrors. Always has been for the Denver Nuggets. And the over/under is set at 238 even. I'd probably take the over on that.
Really?
I just see the Denver Nuggets
they are scoring a lot.
They're going to be running.
Wait, these are your bets?
No, I'm just outlining the standard bets. We're understanding the games through the lens of Bet365. And the Nuggets money line is minus 300. So Vegas or wherever Bet365 is located, very in on the Denver Nuggets. Here are the actual bets that I believe are going to take place tonight. I think this is going to be a game where the bench gets a lot of run. I do believe this is going to be a garbage time game.
Oh, please.
And for that reason,
Pick it?
the first guy I'm looking at is Julian Strother. Julian Strother to hit over 7.5 points.
Curveball.
Wow.
Oh, 7.5 points. He's been scoring lately, and I do think he's going to get more of an opportunity tonight. 7.5 is a pretty small number. Couple threes and a bucket. Not hard to imagine. The other place that I'm looking is one Peyton Watson.
Okay.
Defensively, over 1.5 steals and blocks combined, some stocks.
I like
over
this.
1.5 stocks. Again, I think this mainly comes down to the idea that there's just going to be a lot of court time for these fellas tonight.
Placed.
But my big bet, my lock,
I think I know where you're going.
Jamal Murray, over 2.5 threes made.
Oh, I love this bet.
The juice is not great because the word is out. Jamal Murray is back.
Plus
Harrison,
365's onto it.
Harrison has been saying it. He's ruined the surprise.
Never said
Bet
it.
365.
Yeah.
People are listening when he speaks. I just feel really good about that. I also feel really good about Michael Porter Jr. threes. I mean, I think the two of them
Ooh, I love that
really
bet too.
felt good about the way that they had to feel good about the way that they performed, not only individually but together in that third quarter, where we saw not only Jokic, Murray, and Porter all firing. You see all three of that happen at the same time, and it's an avalanche that no team can survive. And I just hope that they take last game as a starting point, a new chapter, if you will. In
A new chapter
yeah,
drops?
dude. Chapter 12, dude.
Oh,
Chapter
man.
12. We're 1/3 of the way through the season, and we're 58 chapters in. Can you believe it? But I love those all as an idea. But those three are my bets.
So what do you think Jokic does tonight? Because you don't have a Jokic bet,
I
which
don't
I
have a Jokic
feel
bet
like
because-
should be a rule that you have a Jokic bet.
I
Yeah.
feel like we're going to get too much garbage time.
So you want to take the under. Points,
no,
rebounds,
I
and
cannot,
assists.
and I can't take
DeAndre
any unders.
Jordan bet?
If there's one thing he does tonight, score, rebound, or assist, what do you think it is?
I think it's probably score.
Okay.
I mean, who's going to be on it? Walker Kessler?
Remember Walker Kessler? We kind of theorized based on really dumb things, like him not dapping him up at the jumper circle.
Yeah.
That he hates Walker Kessler.
Well, remember Walker Kessler came in to do a...
He thought he was.
review?
He just thought he was a ref.
and
He came in, he's like, "Oh, Walker Kessler from the
yeah.
I'm an Idiot
And
news or
Jokic
whatever."
hated- and Jokic was
was
like,
"Get out of here.
Get out of here, you little whippersnapper.
This isn't funny. You're not clever." So I think it's going to be a scoring night just because I kind of think that Jokic is enjoying that currently.
29.5 points.
I know, it's just this is why I'm not
His
like,
points are so high.
This is why I'm not
But he
betting
gets
any
it.
of them because I don't know that he's going to get his fourth stint.
Do you have a Jokic? Like, what do you think he does tonight? I think assist.
I think definitely triple double.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, triple double.
Triple double. I'd say I'm feeling a pretty standard game from Yoke. And I mean standard in terms of I'll probably go close to his averages, maybe like 28 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists.
I mean, I think if
that type of
if
game.
this game is remotely close, then I
mean, he could get that in
Jokic
the
would have
third
a
quarter,
monster
though.
game. I just we're talking about people's money here, man.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm aware.
You take it very seriously.
And also take Jordan Clarkson just because for them. Whatever you want.
Jordan, I'm trying to get traded Clarkson.
Jordan, I'm trying to get. I
take
thought
him.
about that. Like, you should probably take his points.
Okay. He'll be a gunner tonight. Tiff, do we have any super chats?
Oh, and two. Yeah.
It's
like we almost always get
pocketing
Cedric.
the super chats.
Yeah. You have two Cedrics.
Wait, is this a new Cedric?
No,
Oh.
it's just politically charged.
yeah.
Nuggets next 4 years.
No, that's Donald.
I won
Trump,
the election. Legendary run from Jokic.
And
Okay?
and a Serbian flag. Perfect.
Love that for the vibe. Cedric, favorite memory beats LA.
But what is
G
the
sweep?
G sweep?
Gentleman sweep. Gentleman sweep, because it was 5
Gentleman
games.
sweep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cedric. 8 ball, Peyton Watson, block on SG8.
Ain't.
SG ain't.
Very good.
There you go. Those were the highlights for
Shane
Cedric in
Gilgeous
2024. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning into our preseason show, our pregame show. We're going to go watch this game down at the bar. We'll see you on the other side. Hit that like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.